Hi everyone. So today's video, I want to do another mesotherapy treatment. I had a lot of requests and a lot of questions about it, so I'm going to redo it again, and this is going to be my fourth treatment. I'm going to let you all know that if you're a beginner and you've never had hyaluronic acid injected into the area that you're wanting to achieve that different look, either to restore or to add volume to the face or any other area, I just wanted to let you know that it does take 3 or 4 treatments before you start to see lasting results. So I am now gonna do my fourth mesotherapy treatment. I do the treatment with my 24K gold Hyaluron pen device, and this device is 0.5 ml. Very often I like to use the 0.3 ml, and that's only because it's a little smaller in the hand, easier to handle. Like if I'm doing my lips, I'll just use the 0.3 ml pen. But today I'm going to use the 0.5 because I'm going to be injecting a lot more of my face, and the mesotherapy requires quite a bit of filler. Usually I would say between 4 to 6 ml. I'm going to start by tying back my hair. Hair has to be out of the way. And speaking about hair, I also have a new hair channel out, so if you want to check that out, LC Hair Addict. And there's hair tips and stuff there because I have been a hairdresser for 24 years. I just love to give hair tips as well as much as I do hyaluron. So you can check that out. I also put this on top of my hairline just to keep the face clean. And I have just come out of the shower, so I tied my hair back. Putting this around to keep the hair away from my face and the treated area nice and clean. Now that that's done, my face is nice and clean. I just came out of the shower, so I don't have anything on it. This is how my skin looks. After the third mesotherapy treatment, I am going on my fourth today. So like I was saying, I do use my 0.5 ml pen. I'm going to use Hyaluron Kween hyaluronic acid, of course. This is my 10 ml. And I will draw it out on my face so you guys can see. Marking out the face does help because sometimes you don't see the red mark where you're injecting, and you want to make the marks just because you can keep track of where you've been. When you're injecting, whether you start from the top to the bottom, bottom to the top, doesn't matter. I like to clean off the lines that I drew as I'm injecting so that I don't lose track of where I've injected. So even if you've become used to the technique, I still like to draw it out just so that I have nice even results. And sometimes you can't easily see where you've injected already, so it just kind of helps that. I'm going to start by marking out my face. I'm going to look straight into the mirror here. So I am right now drawing a line straight down the center of my face. And now another one across the middle. Now, then again in the center of that, and in the center of that. See, it's just easier to keep track of where you've been. So in the center of that, going vertical. So you're gonna do horizontal and vertical lines all over your face until the boxes are about 2 to 3 millimeters apart. So now I'm doing the vertical lines. This requires a sharpener to nearby because this goes down really quickly. And you just want to continue making the squares. Doesn't have to be perfect lines. It's just so you can keep track of where you're at. So once the lines are drawn, you want to go through and make sure that the squares are small enough. You can do crisscross there if you want, if you find it easier. I think that's pretty well marked. Isn't that hilarious? All right, so I am now going to put my gloves on. Make sure you have plenty of alcohol pads next to you. I always wipe down my Hyaluron device right before the treatment. Just Just want to make sure it's nice and clean even after sterilization. I'm going to open up my new ampoule. Always make sure you're using a new ampoule. You never want to reuse these items. It could be very dangerous. You're putting yourself at risk for infection. You want to ensure that that will not happen. So what I'm going to do, pull out the little plunger, open up my 10 ml. This is Hyaluron Kween product, of course. End to end, fill it, leaving a little bit of space for the plunger to go back in. I normally fill it till about 2/3 the way up. Put the plunger back in, prepare the device, open it up all the way, insert the ampoule in, and you're ready. All right, so I'm going to begin. I will begin at the bottom, and I'm going to work my way up. Pull the handle. You want to do very small injections. This treatment is done with hyaluronic acid, injectable. Make sure it's injectable and not a serum. Unless you're doing it with a derma roller, you can use a serum. If you're doing it with the hyaluron device, make sure you're using an injectable. And you always want to clean the area. Wipe it down with alcohol before you inject. My pen is ready. And inject. So you inject and you hold it there for a second, allowing the product to completely absorb into the skin. Little alcohol pads, they dry up really quickly. So you want to make sure it's nice and moist, cleaning the area very well. Hold it there a second, allow the product to go in. So what I like to do is use little amounts all around. And after the treatment's done and my full face is done, sometimes I can go back and fill the areas that I want to touch up and fill as well. Sometimes you bleed, sometimes you don't. Some people do. I haven't really been bleeding too much over here, but sometimes when I get more to the top, I have more blood. So some people write to me about product loss. I just want to say that usually product loss will happen because the product is too thick for your Hyaluron device. It's probably meant for older traditional fillers. Hyaluron Kween is specifically formulated for the device, so it's thick enough to last and thin enough that it goes in without product waste, because usually penetration is the hardest part and you often have a lot of product loss, and product can be very expensive and pricey. And it is part of learning, having some product loss. If you're a beginner, that's fine. But once you get used to having the pen in your hand and becoming more familiar with the device, you're going to get more comfortable. You don't want to have product loss. So Hyaluron Kween is specifically formulated for the use with the pen. It's going to penetrate the skin very well without product loss, and you will have lasting results as well. So you want to know how long. If you're a beginner, like I said, it may take 3 or 4 treatments in order to see the lasting results that you want to achieve. So it depends if you're doing restoration or just adding volume to an area. My skin's so red because of the injecting now. But secondly, why you would have product loss, it also happens a lot with the lower quality devices. There's a problem with the pressure, and when you're injecting and you're pressing the pen, the pressure is not strong enough and it's not penetrating into the skin. Third reason you might have product loss is because the device has to be held flush to the skin. If there's at all any kind of space, if your hand is tilted, if it's, some people are taught to keep it on a 90 degree or 45 degree, that's 30 degree, but really, it really depends on where you're treating, because whatever area, our face can be very curvy, and wherever you're going, this has to be flush to the skin, no air surrounding. So whichever angle, you might have to twist your wrist in certain ways sometimes, but you really got to make sure that the device is flush to your skin. So it's either your product being too thick, your device low quality. Sometimes you want to save some money, but when you're using a device like this, it's not somewhere you want to really save. And also the angle of your hand. You always want to make sure that the tip of your ampoule is flush to the skin. So while you're doing this mesotherapy treatment, you're using very small injections, and you want to make sure to smooth the area and keep massaging Make sure there's no lumps. This treatment takes time. Don't do anything like this if you're ever in a rush. It's not something you want to rush through. So far, I have used 1 full ml. I'm going to try one of my new pens. Now, so far, I have used 1.5 ml. I got a new 0.03 ml pen, so I'm just going to try that out. See, so the 0.03 ml pen, Hyaluron Kween, hyaluronic acid. Both pens function the same. If you're wondering what the difference is, it's really just size. They both function exactly the same. I'm just excited to try out my new pen, so that's why I'm switching it up. Now remember, I'm just using small amounts. You want to make sure to hold the device firm to the skin so that you don't have product loss. So I hope you guys subscribe to my channel. I have lots more videos coming up. You see, sometimes it leaves a red spot, sometimes it doesn't. Depends. You gotta make sure you're pressing firm enough also, because if you're too light-handed, you're gonna have product loss. But if your hand is too heavy and you're pressing too hard, you'll have bruising. So you really have to be careful of that. Another thing that can help with swelling and bruising is icing the area beforehand. If you're worried about that, you can always ice before and after treatment. It helps with the bruising and swelling. So I just injected right above on my Cupid bow. See the little dot there? And you can see it gives an instant lip lift. You can see the lift right away. I'll do one side and then you can see the other. So right now I'm doing along right above the vermilion border around the lip. I'm not doing the lip line, I'm doing above the lip line. Just a mesotherapy treatment as well. Small injections, slightly 2 to 3 millimeters apart. All right, so I've done around this side, just so you can see the difference. So it gives very slight, but it just freshens up the lip, pulls it up a little bit. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side now. See, for some reason my cheek area shows a lot of injection marks. I guess the skin's a little more sensitive there. So I just want to thank you all for following, by the way. So you want to make sure the area you're working in is clean also. It's really important because you don't want to risk yourself for infection if you're not working in the proper area that's clean and hygienic. You are risking yourself. As long as you're keeping your injections nice and small, this will distribute product evenly throughout the skin. You want to keep the injections at the same size all over. So it is normal to have little bumps and red marks for about 3 days after treatment. You want to make sure to keep the skin very clean, avoid makeup, dirty hands. You want to make sure if you have to touch the area that your hands are washed very well before touching the area. Again, touching it with your dirty hands risks for infection, so you want to keep away from that. By the way, if any alcohol wipes fall on the floor, anything, you gotta let it go, throw it in the garbage. And if you've touched any other surface with your gloves, because you had to walk away or for whatever reason, then you're gonna want to remove your gloves and change them. right, so here you get a little bit of an eyebrow lift when you do the mesotherapy around here. I did this side, so now before I do the other side, I just want you to see the difference. I'll wipe away the lines on this side. So now my eyebrows are completely relaxed. I've injected here and I've injected over here as well. And that's the difference between the two sides. So you can notice that this one's a lot more rounded and lifted than this one here. So now I'm going to do the other side. There you go. Instant eyebrow lift, you see? So everyone, that is a mesotherapy treatment. You see I've done my whole face. Now I'm just gonna go over where I wanna add a little bit of volume maybe. And if you're wondering how many ml that took to do the whole face, it took 5.5 ml. So almost 6 ml. So when you're doing your tear through area, you want to make sure not to overfill the area. And that's because if you do, it's going to look like the person's crying. And you don't want to make it look like they're crying. You just want to make it nice and smooth into a transition to a cheek. So just make sure that when you're injecting, you're aware of that. You don't want to over inject. That's my mesotherapy treatment. I hope you enjoyed the video. I am now going to take my vitamin A and E ointment. I'm going to put it all over my face. I'm not going to do it yet because I want to treat a few other little spots that I have. And I hope that helped. So it's going to be normal to have some red spots, a little bit of swelling. If you want to ice the area, that's fine. Make sure if you're going to touch the area that you have clean hands. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to contact me. You can email me if you have questions. You can contact me if you need any products. I am a distributor. I supply and ship globally all around the world. So you're welcome to contact me at lc@hyaluron-kween.com. I hope you all have a great day and you stay safe.